so many great things, the Liberty Bell, cheesesteaks, and Rocky Balboa, let's be honest. It's also well known for the stunning murals you can find all across the city. There's hundreds of them. Just look at these. They're beautiful. It's cool, right? I always love being in a city when you see stuff like this. Do y'all love that?
I love street art. In
Me
Paris,
too.
I'm constantly taking pictures. I find myself looking down for it more than like looking where I'm going, so I'll be tripping everywhere.
I love it too.
All I want to look at is street art.
Yeah, it's so well done. And what makes these murals all the more extraordinary that you're looking at is that they were actually painted by artists including homeless men and women in the city. It's all part of a program launched by my next guest called Color Me Back, and that it not only pays the unhoused for bringing art to public spaces, it also helps those men and women get back on their feet, and that's why she is today's good neighbor. It's so good. It's my favorite, Josie. From Mural Arts, let's say hi to Jane Golden, y'all. So it's lovely to meet you, and I love your colors, and also meet the ladies. Josie.
Hi, how are you?
So nice to meet
How are you? It's so good to meet you. We did the first mural dedicated to the trans community in Philly.
Oh my
4
God,
weeks ago.
That's awesome.
It was a really big thing.
That's amazing.
See what I mean? On the panel, things happen that
I
you're like
know.
crazy.
That's amazing.
It always happens like that. So it's called Color Me Back.
Color
so how
Me
did it come
Back.
about?
Well, first of all, so Mural Arts Philadelphia is dedicated to making sure every citizen everywhere has access to art. Like, art is like oxygen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I like galleries and museums. Art doesn't have to be behind those walls exclusively. So Color Me Back came out of our long-standing partnership with the Department of Behavioral Health. And in 2019, we started thinking, you know, there's a rise in homelessness. What can we do? Because we're always like on a mission all the time. There's a problem, we want to solve it. And so we thought, okay, so let's look, what are other cities doing? And we saw, oh, they have same-day work programs. But it was all around picking up litter. And I'm like, oh, we can do better. So we said, okay, so let's create a program where people are doing beautiful works of public art, partnering with SEPTA, that's our transit agency. Yay, SEPTA. And so, because it's so bleak, the concourse, we can make it look beautiful, provide social services, career opportunities, and really help people get back on their feet again. But when we started the program, I walked in the studio one day and people said that we should call this Color Me Back because art is bringing us back to life. I'm like, exactly, that's what we're doing.
I think it's so awesome. The photo we just had up a minute ago is beautiful. How does it work? So how does it all pan out?
So it's a same-day work program, so it's $50 a day. People can stay for a week at a time. They work on small murals, and then they start working on larger murals. And in some way, it's like a, you know, it's a crisis, homelessness, like not just in Philly, but across the country.
Across the country,
Right,
yeah.
but it's not like a crisis center, what we're doing. You feel like the therapeutic value of it. It's really wonderful. We have
Creating is so therapeutic.
It really is, and we have peer specialists from the Department of Behavioral Health. So they're going around talking to people. What do you need? You know, do you need an ID, a cell phone? What do you do? Counseling, therapy, and then we're providing those services. We bring in CareerLink because we want it to be an on-ramp to a job. And since April of 2019, we've worked with well over 1,000 people, and $250,000 has gone to people's pockets.
That's amazing.
It's awesome.
And I love the fact that you're calling Color Me Back because it's bringing people back to their lives. It's getting everybody back on their feet. It's such a beautiful concept.
That's right. We can be aspirational but highly pragmatic at the same time, and that's the beauty of art.
Yeah, amen. Have y'all ever heard anything like this? I've never heard anything.
No, that's incredible.
It's so incredible.
And inspiring and amazing, and exactly how we should be tackling the unhoused crisis in our country is by like outsourcing, and that's so beautiful. That's amazing.
And have such, you just said the first one was about the trans community. That's so amazing to have a message with the art. Like, that's the thing about art.
Right.
It's useless if there's not a point to it, if there's not a message to it.
That's right. Art can be a tool of advocacy, education, inspiration. And really, when it comes to our country's intractable problems, we can never discount the role of innovation and creativity to crack the code, because our traditional ways of working will fail us. So let's think big.
You should be like a coach.
I know.
Like, I feel like I'm ready for the game. I'm ready to be put in. I'm like,
Mural tour
you
in
have such a
Philly.
great energy.
I know, I'm
Your
like, sign
Philly
me
tour.
up.
So your biggest project was done during COVID, which is funny because a lot of people were so isolated and they weren't doing anything, but y'all were doing your biggest project.
That's right. We said we cannot stop because why? The community we're working with is so fragile. There's no way we could do that, you know. So, and anyway, if people tell us no, we just ignore them. It's a little secret.
Welcome to most of my childhood.
And so I'm I'm like a wall hunter. Like, I always notice good walls. So in this concourse, there's this giant 1/4 mile long area with all these columns. And we realized, oh, we can have people painting and they'll be socially distant. So we decided to transform this huge space during COVID, put money in people's pocket, be undaunted, keep moving forward.
And look
I'm
how
telling you,
beautiful that is. Look at that. It's such a great idea. Let's everybody say hi to Norman. So first of all, it's lovely to meet you, but I want you to take us back. So before Color Me Back, like what was life like?
So life was pretty bad. I went through a lot of traumas and stuff, and I became HIV positive. I'm gay, and a lot of my friends died, and life just crashed in, and I went over the deep end. And I kind of escaped into drugs, and that made things worse. And long story short, I ended up being homeless in Philadelphia, sleeping in the subway where we ended up painting a mural. So.
Wow. And you probably never thought when you were sleeping there before, like, this will one day be a beautiful place that like, you're proud of. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It was my bedroom.
So
yeah.
how did you get it? How did you find out about Color Me Back?
So, so I was walking around in Center City and had no money and nothing to do. And somebody said, well, there's this place where, you know, they'll pay you $50 to do art. And I didn't believe them. So, you know, no one was going to do that. So there have been so many closed doors in my life. I had just...
It was hard not to be jaded.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so, but then one day to prove myself right, I went and they called my number and I went and made $50 and made art. And it really was the start of something really powerful in me. So I kept going.
Probably hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little like light of hope. And you're both artists as well. So do you feel like art has saved you in any kind of way, especially if you're ever? I feel like a lot of artists, we can go into really dark places as we can experience those high moments as well. Have you ever had that?
Yeah, I was fortunate to make a film that dealt with mental health, specifically eating disorders. And as a young person, that's something that I went through, and I was able to take my experiences and tell a story to bring it to more people and to shed light on and create empathy for subject that a lot of people think are shameful to talk about and embarrassing to talk about. So art is healing. It was healing for me. It's healing for other people, and it's a gift of creativity that we get to.
Absolutely. Well, what does life look for you right now, Norman?
So life is much better, thanks to Jane and Color Me Back and Mural Arts. And so I am no longer homeless. And now
That's amazing.
good to have housing. And I'm actually working part-time for Mural Arts, and I give tours at the mural we painted where I used to sleep when I was homeless. So, you know, it's really powerful. Yeah.
And those tours that you take people on and telling them that story, like, that's amazing.
They love it, yeah.
No, of course, because what an incredible story. I think everybody loves that about, you know, say what you want about humanity, but, you know, we can make a hell of a comeback, you know, sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think that's the most beautiful part. And we've all had those moments in our lives. So Jane, you've seen Norman change. So as a person as well, you were talking about, right?
Yeah, I have. I mean, Norman, you know, when we first met, I mean, you were feeling like it was crushing, the sort of depression and feeling so isolated. And
That's right.
Probably
it's like,
defeated.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel that, you know, there are thousands of works of art in the city of Philadelphia, and each one to me is a beacon of hope, because behind that work of art, there are people like Norman, and that is what is so life-affirming. And wonderful. To see you blossom, and you're leading tours, and you know, and you're giving back now in such a, it's so profound. And so we're trying to grow this as much as we can, because we really feel that we're onto something.
Well, speaking of that, we love what Color Me Back is all about, and we're not the only ones. Skillshare is an online learning community for curious people with thousands of classes taught by industry experts. They know how the seemingly simple act of creating can be a force for growth and change, as we've seen here today, which is why they want to make a $20,000 donation. To Mural Arts. It's going to be amazing. We love what Mural Arts is doing. So $20,000 to Mural Arts. And that's not all. To help find and fuel the creative spark in all of you, Skillshare is giving everyone in the audience a one-year membership as well.